Welcome to Football with Cheese. I like that word, welcome. Makes you feel good when someone says, welcome. Yeah. Anyway, so in this video, we're going to start with the NFC. We're going to do basically the thing that can make or break your season for all 32 teams. We'll do the 16 NFC teams first because there is a game tonight in the NFC, Eagles-Cowboys. And on Friday, we'll do the AFC. There's a game that night as well, Chargers versus the Chiefs. So if you have not subscribed, make sure you do so now. Enable alerts so you never miss a video. Before we get started, make sure every Tuesday night you check out the Sports Truth Podcast. My buddy Mike started. I'm the co-host. Links in the description. It starts at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Okay, let's get right into it. Starting with the NFC. Got my notes over here, so if I keep looking that way. I could have just memorized every single team. Two things for 16 teams, but I did not. I guess I'm lazy. We'll start in the NFC South with the Buccaneers. So, thing that could make their season, their offense could be insanely good. I really like every aspect of it. The O-line is really good. I think Graham Barton, the center's going to have a breakout year. He was their first-round pick last year. They extended Luke Godeke. I hope I said that right. Really good player. And they drafted Emeka Egbuka, who is just going to get open, especially with Mike Evans on the outside. And if Chris Godwin's healthy, my God, what an offense. What could break them is the pass defense was fourth worst in the NFL last year. And it wasn't just the defensive backs, which they're decent. It's not a terrible room, but they don't really get a lot of pass rush. Their run defense is good. They have Vita Vea at nose tackle, but yeah, their defense to me just gave up way too many yards through the air. I'm high on the Bucs this year, but if they don't become a contender, I think it's because of the pass defense. Falcons, so their pass rush could be elite. After being the biggest weakness on the team for many, many years in a row, they used 2 first-round picks on edge rushers. Speed edge rushers, really athletic players, James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker. God, if Braylon Trice, their third-round pick last year, could ever get healthy, he's really good too. Really high on him coming in the draft last year out of Washington. But they could take a weakness, turn into strength. Here's what worries me, though, is the offensive line. Caleb McGarry is out for this season. The right tackle. He is the blind side protector for lefty quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Don't love the players they have to fill in. They also lost their center, Drew Dolman. He signed a contract with the Bears. So you're losing 2 very good offensive linemen, 2 really good run-blocking offensive linemen. Could hurt Bijan as well. So if the Falcons don't become a playoff team, which a lot of people are predicting, the offensive line is probably the reason. Carolina Panthers. This offense could be really good. Bryce Young, down the stretch, played really well. And they added Tedero McMillan, T-Mac, in the draft. Now he has a go-to wide receiver. And the offensive line is very good. Chuba Hubbard, great running back room. So, yeah, this offense could be among the best in the NFL. What could break them is the defense. It's not good. It still looks pretty bad on paper. They signed Patrick Jones in free agency, even though in 4 years he has 12 career sacks. They're hoping he helps the pass rush. They also drafted Nick Skeleton and Prince Umamilin. I don't know if I said that right, in second, third round. Those guys need to make an impact, immediate impact, because they need pass rush help to improve this defense. Saints, so what could make their season actually be a success is if either Spencer Rattler, second-year quarterback, or rookie Tyler Shuck, they play well. They show they have potential to be a franchise quarterback. So just one of them, not both, need to become the guy. Probably a long shot, but you never know. And what could break them? Well, the roster's just not very good. They have not drafted well for 4 or 5 years. Before that, they were one of the best drafting teams in the NFL. They seem to have 5 to 7 draft picks every year. They should trade down more, make it 10 or 11. The best teams typically have at least 9, 10 draft picks every year. Let's go to the East, Eagles. So there's a lot of things that can make their season. They're the defending champs. They just have one of the best overall rosters in the league. Don't have many weaknesses. It's pretty simple. What could break them? Right guard, they don't really have a very good right guard. They lost Mekhi Becton in free agency, and they have 3 guys that were competing for that spot, and none of them are very good. So they also, I guess they lost Josh Sweat and Milton Williams on the defensive line. They had some depth there, though, so I'm not worried about it. But both players had 2 sacks in the Super Bowl, in that Super Bowl that was not close at all. It was 40-6 at one point. What a slaughter. God, the Eagles played so well the last 2 games last year. No one could have beaten them. They just dominated. So, yeah, there you go. Eagles make it. Just play like they did those last 2 games. They'll be the best team in the NFL again. All right, Washington. Jaden Daniels just builds on his rookie year because he's going to have a better offensive line. They traded for Laremy Tunsil. They drafted Josh Carnley Jr. to play right tackle. And Brandon Coleman, he was a rookie left tackle last year, moving into left guard. I think that's his best position. So they upgraded at least 3 spots on that offensive line. And Sam Cosmi's going to come back at some point. They're injured right guard. So they have maybe taken a weakness, O-line, and made a strength. So that offense could just be incredible. Jaden Daniels could become an MVP candidate with these O-line upgrades. And they finally got Terry McLaurin signed. Took way too long. And what could break them is the defense is still not very good. It doesn't look good on paper, and the main focus was to improve the offensive line in the offseason. They added Deebo Samuel as well. So they improved the offense a lot more than the defense, and they gave up, I think, 55 points in the playoffs to the Eagles. Their defense got destroyed. So, Giants. What could make them is if Jackson Dart plays well as a rookie. He's going to play at some point. Unless Russell Wilson returns to his Seattle form. Unlikely. But the Giants, I don't think they're going to be a very good team. They're not going to be a terrible team, I don't think. But at some point, they'll go to Jackson Dart. Maybe by week 5, maybe week 9 or 10, we'll see. But if Jackson Dart plays really well and shows him to be a franchise quarterback, that would make the Giants' season. They don't necessarily have to make the playoffs. They just need him to show that. And what could break them is the offensive line sucks. Andrew Thomas is a really good left tackle, but he's got injury issues. And if you look at the other 4 spots, average at best, maybe below average every spot. So they really need to focus next year on the offensive line. Dallas Cowboys, what could make their season? Well, they extended their fullback, Hunter Luepke. So they have a really good fullback. So that is why Dallas could win the Super Bowl. Fullbacks make the team. Okay, I'm kidding. They did extend him, though. Hope I said his name right. No, what can make their season is Dak Prescott staying healthy. He only played, I believe, 8 games last year. And they added George Pickens. So if Dak stays healthy, they could outscore people. It could be a really good passing offense. What could break them is the rest of the offense. The young offensive line doesn't take the next step because it wasn't very good last year. Tyler Smith's very good at left guard. Very good. The rest of the offensive line, not so much. And their running backs suck. Their running back room is garbage. Let's go to the West. The Rams. So what can make them? Well, they added Devontae Adams, who's still a very good receiver. Maybe not top 5 anymore, but he's still very good. Great route runner. And they drafted Terrence Ferguson, tight end from Oregon. Real athletic tight end. Need to clean some things up. So their offense could be really good. They already have Kyron Williams. They have a good offensive line. So if Matt Stafford is healthy, their offense is going to be great. What could break them? I think the secondary. It's just not very good. They could get torched. They could be in a situation where if the defensive line doesn't get pressure, it's a great young defensive line. Don't get me wrong. They get a lot of pass rush, but if they don't, if they're facing a team with a really good pass blocking offensive line, then they could get torched and get in a lot of shootouts. And as you know, some years you win more shootouts than others. Some you don't. Like the Bengals last year kept losing shootouts, just missed the playoffs. So that is the Rams. Arizona Cardinals, what could make their season? I think it's pretty simple. I think Kyler Murray staying healthy and clicking with Marvin Harrison Jr. They just didn't seem to click at times. You know, they already have Trey McBride, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. That wide receiver tight end combination should be amazing. And I don't think Arizona used Marvin Harrison Jr. as well as they should have. It seemed like he just always played outside. You take your best receiver, you move him around. Like the Bengals, for example, they put Jamar Chase in the slot at times, outside at times. They try to get him the best matchup. It just felt like Arizona, their offense was kind of vanilla. They just put him outside. Oh, he's an outside receiver. Let's just put him there. Move him in the slot. Move him on the right side. Let's move him around. Get him on the best matchup. I think Arizona needs to do a better job of that. What could break them is the defense doesn't get better, despite looking better on paper. Maybe Josh Sweat doesn't have the impact in free agency. Walter Nolan's not healthy. Will Johnson has injury issues. Their second-round pick, the corner. If those rookies don't have an impact and the defense doesn't improve, then they probably won't make the playoffs. I do think they will. If you watched on the Sports Truth podcast, we did predictions. Mike and I both had Arizona as a wildcard team. We don't have them in the division. We both think they are better this year. The 49ers. So what can make them is their elite players return to form and stay healthy. Big years for Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, and Ricky Pearsall. Their first-round pick from last year. He doesn't get shot. He does not get a bullet in him, and he's healthy because he's got a lot of talent. If you watch him at Florida, very good young receiver, and they still have George Kittle. What could break them? They lost probably as much as anyone in the NFL to free agency or trades. Traded Debo, lost Dre Greenlaw, Charvarius Ward, the defensive line minus Joey Bosa. So the roster's a lot younger. I don't think it's necessarily less talented, but it's just younger. So they really need some young guys to step up. Seattle Seahawks, what could make them is Sam Darnold looks like the player he was in the first 16 games last year before he absolutely collapsed against Detroit in the playoffs against the Rams where he was horrible. But if he can be that guy in the first 16 games that was an MVP candidate, let's be honest, he was playing that well, then Seattle's going to be really good. What could break them? The offensive line. It's been a problem for years. They did draft Gray Zabel. Charles Cross is a very good left tackle. So the left side, because Gray Zabel's playing left guard, the left side should be very good, but the other three positions are questionable. And if they don't play well, if they don't pass protect, then Sam Darnold's going to struggle because he doesn't handle pressure well. He's very good with a clean pocket. Okay, let's go to the North, last division. Green Bay Packers. So what could make them? Jordan Love thrives. He lives up to his potential. He's got a big arm. He's athletic. He's got poise. He's got all the tools you want to be a top 5 quarterback. He hasn't hit that yet. And with Josh Jacobs and Matthew Golden, first-round pick, looks like a home run. Tucker Kraft, poised for a breakout season at tight end. Their offense could be unstoppable because I really like their offensive line. What could break them? Obviously, if Micah Parsons' back injury lingers, but I picked something else. They did trade Kenny Clark in the Micah Parsons trade. Their run defense could be an issue. The 5 defensive tackles on the roster right now, only one of them, I would say, is a good run defender, and that's Nazir Stackhouse, who is a rookie undrafted free agent. So they don't have an experienced defensive tackle that's a good run stopper. So if they get behind in games, they could struggle on run defense. So that's what could break them, in my opinion. Detroit Lions. What could make them? Just be healthy on defense. Aiden Hutchinson's returning to form despite that terrible leg break. They added DJ Reader at defensive tackle, Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle, first-round pick. Just solidify the defensive line and the run defense. That would make them. And what could break them? I think it's losing both coordinators. Could have a bigger impact than they realized. Ben Johnson, one of the best play designers in the NFL. He's now the head coach of the Bears. Aaron Glenn had some unbelievable game plans down the stretch with all the injuries they had on defense. And he's now the coach of the Jets. So what could break them is the new coordinators just aren't nearly as good, and the offense and defense suffers because of it. 2 teams left. Minnesota Vikings. What could make their season? This is pretty easy. J.J. McCarthy is legit and looks like a franchise quarterback. Plays really well. If he does, very likely to make the playoffs. Because they have a lot of offensive weapons, and they upgraded the offensive line, which was a weakness down the stretch last year. What could break them? The cornerback room. Besides Byron Murphy, he's a pretty good slot corner. maybe not a great player. The rest of the cornerback room is pretty bad. And they do get a lot of pass rush, and they do blitz a lot. But if that pass rush is not getting through, I don't think their corners can cover for very long. So their defense might not be as good as last year because of that. So the pass defense could be the reason they don't make the playoffs. One team left, the Chicago Bears. If you watch my channel, you know where I'm going with what could break them. But let's be positive first. What could make them? All the offensive improvements. Hired Ben Johnson as head coach. They drafted Colson Loveland in the first round, tight end. Drafted Luther Burden, wide receiver, in the second round. They upgraded the offensive line in free agency and trades. So the offense should be a lot better. What could break them? Pretty obvious. Caleb Williams implodes. Things don't go his way. We've seen his attitude. We've seen his immaturity. When stuff doesn't go his way, he acts like a little bitch, a little baby. And I just don't think he has it mentally. I don't think he's mentally tough enough to be a great player. He can be a good player because he's so talented. I just don't think he'll be a great player. And that's what could break the Chicago Bears season. So, tomorrow, look out for my AFC Make and Break video. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. Enable alerts. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Check out my articles. I write a weekly article at PackersTalk.com. Link in the description, all about the Green Bay Packers. Also, like I mentioned earlier, Sports Truth Podcast every Tuesday night. Links in the description, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific with my buddy Mike. We just did the NFL prediction show. A lot of fun, so make sure you check that out if you have not. Share this with anyone who loves football as we continue to grow the channel. Check these videos out if you have not, and I'll see you in the next one.